Well, it was bound to happen eventually. I didn't want it to happen against Dallas, but alas, here we are once again with another therapy session. Tuesday night. Well, I mean, what can you say, man? Dallas, just a better team, especially up front. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage up front. They made it look pretty easy. And I mean, you're not going to win many games when you get dominated at the line of scrimmage. It's not the way you win games in the NFL. I know it's become a passing league, and I know that, the running game is taboo now. Nobody really talks about the run and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, man, getting after the quarterback, being able to run the ball, being able to dominate the line of scrimmage is still extremely important. And that's what happened to us last night. We just got completely dominated up front. Dallas consistently had pressure on Daniel Jones. I don't remember the total amount of pressures that he had, but I know at one point it was 21, which was a career high. They had 21 pressures on him in the fourth quarter. Not going to win many games, and your quarterback can't throw the ball, has no pocket. It's difficult. And on the other side of the ball, Cooper Rush had all day and all night to throw the ball, locate receivers wide open down the field. So, it is what it is. It sucks. But, listen, man, the Giants are still 2-1. And at this juncture in the year, I thought they'd be 1-2. I didn't think we were going to beat Tennessee. That was kind of a bonus win. There's been some things that have gone the Giants' way this year, which normally doesn't. And even though that was obviously, you hate losing to a division rival, man. You hate, especially Dallas, right? Dallas and Philadelphia. Just those are two teams you do not want to lose to if you're a Giants fan or a Commanders fan. It's just not what you're looking for, but it is what it is. Giant Laterno, thank you for the super chat. He says, just come root for my Eagles. I'm not rooting for the Eagles. You could pay me, I don't know. It would take a lot of money to make me root for the Eagles. A lot. 7 figures. I would never root for that bum-ass organization that's won one Super Bowl in their entire history, but Eagle fans act like they've won 10. Eagle fans act like they're the Patriots. It amazes me. It really does. The cockiness and the arrogance that a fan base has for winning one Super Bowl in 57 years. It baffles me. The amount of cockiness and arrogance that goes with that fan base. It really does. It truly does amaze me. They've done nothing. Are they a really good team this year? Absolutely. Have they won anything yet? Absolutely not. But you would never know it. So it always makes me laugh. We may suck now, but like I said, man, I've seen my team raise that thing 4 times. So when you catch us, come talk. But until then, it is what it is, man. I'm just waiting for the Yankees to clinch a division here. But our biggest issue right now is we do have a lack of talent. There's still the Dave Gettleman hangover, man. That dark cloud of Dave Gettleman still hangs over, still hangs over the team. There's no question about it. And Joe Shane and Daboll in the front office, Yankees are AL East champions. So there's a bit of good news for us Yankee Giants fans, right? The Yankees are division champs. I'll be live for the first game of the year. Well, I'll be live for Yankee playoffs, most of them, almost every one of them if I can. But the Yankees did clinch East, so that's good because there was a time in there in August where you're a little concerned that they weren't going to make it, but they did. Now, obviously, the only thing left to see is if Aaron Judge can tie or pass Roger Maris. But back to the football, Joe Shane and Daboll, they can't do it in 1 year. That's the whole thing. I feel like we're moving in the right direction as a Giants fan. I feel like they do have the right pieces in place. I feel like the the front office is the right people. I feel like the coaching staff is good. I just feel like we don't have a lot of talent. Dave Gettleman set this franchise back a lot. You look at all the first round picks that dude missed on. You cannot miss on top 10 picks every year. And outside of Andrew Thomas, I mean, Barkley looks really good this year. But outside of Andrew Thomas, I mean, he missed on Jones. He missed on DeAndre Baker. He missed on Kadarius Toney. He missed on Dexter Lawrence. I mean, Dexter Lawrence hasn't been a dominant guy. You know, he was picked 17th overall. He missed on him. He missed on a lot of players. And he signed a lot of bad contracts. You know, Nate Solder was a bad contract. Kenny Golladay was a bad contract. I mean, he hurt this franchise in so many ways. And when you're in a terrible cap situation, and on top of that, you have no talent. That's when you're a team that wins 22 games in 5 years. So again, man, I feel like this organization is moving in the right direction. I do, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. It was nice to win those first 2 games, but the Giants have a long way to go. And I don't think any Giants fan with any common sense thought this was a Super Bowl team or anything. It would have been nice to beat Dallas. I mean, I thought we could beat Dallas. And hey, we were up 13-6. We were up in that game late in the third quarter. It's just the defense I don't understand why the defense just gives it up so quickly. And it's not even that they give it up. It's that they give it up so easily. So, but Dallas is just a better team. And you saw that statistic last night that 71% of the Dallas roster is through the draft. And that's the way you build a competitive franchise. That's the way you build a competitive team. You don't do it through free agency. You do it through the draft. But when you consistently missed on your draft picks and you consistently missed on free agents and give bad free agents a lot of money and put your team in a bad situation with the cap, he's not going to come in here and completely change it over. But I do believe that you will see this team begin to move in the right direction once we have more cap space. They're supposed to have between 50 and 55 million next year. We'll see what draft picks they end up with. We'll see what they do. I seriously doubt Kenny Golladay will be on this team next year. I seriously doubt Kadarius Toney will be on this team next year. There's a reason. Well, Kadarius Toney doesn't play because he looks for an excuse not to play, in my opinion. I've never seen a guy have so many nagging injuries that just keep him out, and it's always something different with him. And then Kenny Golladay makes all that money, and he doesn't even see the field. He's getting beat out by Richie James and David Sills, and then he complains about it, and then he, gets in there and he drops a pass, drops a number of passes. The guy hasn't contributed anything. He still has as many touchdowns as I do for the New York Giants, which is none. So, that ain't going to work. That's not going to get it done. I know the fan base has been split on Daniel Jones for years. I understand why. You see that Daniel Jones has talent at times. You see that there is the physical gifts. He does make good throws. He does make plays with his legs. He does have that in him. And at the same time, you see him make mistake after mistake, mistakes that a fourth-year quarterback shouldn't make, like the intentional grounding. That should not have happened. But at the same time, they never gave Daniel Jones an opportunity to succeed. He had no chance. Maybe he goes somewhere else, and maybe he does. Maybe he succeeds elsewhere. Maybe he goes to a team with a better offensive line, and he gets some consistency as far as the coaching staff goes, and he turns into a good quarterback. He was never going to do it here because they didn't set him up properly. And that's just the way it is. But he still makes his mistakes. He still has his flaws. He's still indecisive to me. He still holds on to the ball too long. He still stares down receivers. I mean, that type of stuff doesn't go away regardless of how good or bad your line are. Those are instincts, and you can't teach that. It's just something you have. I felt like he's done better this year. I thought his pocket awareness was pretty good last night. I think that was the best I saw him move around in the pocket to avoid the rush, and he was rushed almost every time. So he's going to be the quarterback this year, and then we'll see what happens next year. But I have serious doubts that he's back here next year. I think Shane and Dable will go after the quarterback that they want to, and they'll start to build the franchise around that guy. But I also think that you better fix that offensive line to help whatever quarterback comes in here. That's just the way I look at it. So, again, I think it was more disappointing than anything because I felt like it was a winnable game. But again, you see the talent Dallas has, and we knew it was going to be a long night for Daniel Jones. If you watch that game against Cincinnati and you saw the way Dallas was able to get after Joe Burrow, and I'm sitting there going, God, our line is no good. Our offensive line's no good. Daniel Jones in for a long night, but I thought our defense would have held up better, and I thought we could have got more pressure on Cooper Rush. I thought that those are the things that could have kept us going and gave us a chance to win. I thought we could have won the turnover battle, but they definitely were missing Leonard Williams up front. I don't think there's any question about that. I think they missed Leonard Williams' presence in the middle of that line. Dallas ran the ball pretty damn effectively all night, and when you're able to get your quarterback in third and manageable, it's much more easy to convert those third downs. So we weren't able to do a good job as far as like stopping the run. It's like every time they ran the ball, they got 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. Especially when you're trying to come back. It's really difficult to come back when you can't stop the run. And that's the way you win games. You're able to put it away by running the ball. And of course, we had an opportunity at the end of that game. It was a long shot, and David Sills falls down. I've never seen so many receivers in my life fall down, but the Giants receivers fall down on a consistent basis. And I was watching Tim from Online Big Blue, and he said that pass wouldn't have been complete. I don't know, man. I don't know where David Sills would have been. Trayvon Diggs had a long way to go to intercept that ball. You don't know. You're supposed to throw the ball to a spot. Did he lead him too much? We'll never know. We'll never know. The dude fell down. So, our wide receiving room is a disaster. I feel bad for Shepard. This is the second serious injury he's had in the last 2 years. He tore his Achilles last year. He's torn his ACL. He's out for the year. Probably played his last game as a New York Giant. Just don't see any way feasible they bring him back here. There is no reason to bring him back. It sucks. I'm a Sooners fan. I love Sterling Shepard at Oklahoma. I thought he was going to be so good for us, man. And it just never panned out. He could never stay healthy. There was always something. He had concussion problems early in his career. And like I said, then he had the Achilles and then the ACL. And, it's a shame. But you look at that wide receiver room, man. We paid Shep all that $10 million a year and not getting nothing out of him. Pay Galladay $72 million a year, not getting nothing out of him. Select Kadarius Toney 20th overall, not getting anything out of him. Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay combined have as many touchdowns as every person in this chat. 0. It's pretty bad when you're paying a dude $72 million and you take a wide receiver in the first round and neither one of them can score a touchdown. It just sucks. It just sucks. But, it'll be interesting to see how the Giants rebound. That's the whole thing. I feel like this team has shown resolve. I feel like this team has actually fought back this year. They fought back against Tennessee. They fought back against Carolina. They were able to beat both of those teams. They did put up a fight against Dallas. Like I said, they had a lead in the third quarter. They were down by 10. They went down. They got a field goal. And although it was a slim chance, they had a chance to at least go down and tie it at the end of the game. These are things that we would not have seen under the previous coaching regime. It would not have happened. The Giants would have just folded up like a cheap suit and went on their merry way and got blown out and shown no fight, no grit, no guts. And I think that, again, I always say a team's personality takes on the persona of its head coach. I feel like Dable's a fighter. I feel like Dable's a guy that's fired up. You see he gets pissed off. You see, he lets the officials have it. He lets his players have it. When he's not happy with something, he's able to express himself. And I think that's important. I also think that he believes in his players. I think that's important too. So, we'll see what it is, but it'll be interesting to see how they rebound from a loss, because now it's time to go back and make adjustments. We have a very winnable game against Sunday. The Bears are no good. The Bears are not a good team. Dallas is a good team. They were just missing their starting quarterback. Cooper Rush looked pretty damn good in both games against Cincinnati and the New York Giants anyway. So, but they have a good team. It's a team that won the division last year. Even without Amari Cooper, they still have CeeDee Lamb. They still have a really good offensive line. They have a great front seven. So they're a good team, So I don't know. But the Bears are not. The Bears are not a good team. That is a team that we should be able to beat. Just their offensive line is bad. Justin Fields, I don't believe in that guy one bit. He can run. I don't think he's a great passer by any stretch of the imagination. They have no receivers. They do run the ball pretty well, which is something we have to look at. I don't know. They average 5.6 yards a carry as a team, but how much of that is Justin Fields running in garbage time? So we'll see. But that's something they definitely have to keep an eye on. They got to try to keep that guy in the pocket and not allow him to use his legs. Make him throw the ball. Make him a passer. And you can definitely turn him over. So Wink's got to come up with some schemes, and we have got to get pressure on him. That's a fact. We don't get pressure on him, he's going to hurt us. But we've got to put some pressure on him. That is a winnable game. They're not good. We're not really good either, but that is a winnable game, without a doubt. Wheelkey, thank you. Says Giants taking an L against my Bears this weekend. Yeah, I don't think that's happening, my friend. I don't think that's happening. I really don't. I think the Giants will rebound to win this game. And then we got two really tough ones against Green Bay and Baltimore. But I think we can get a W against the Bears. I definitely do. Lord Beers, thank you for Super Chat, brother. Appreciate it. He says, I'm excited. My Mets may face the Yankees in the World Series. Listen, man, I just hope the Yankees make the World Series. I don't care who we face. Me personally, I think that'd be fun. But I'd rather face the Dodgers just because I have not seen Yankees-Dodgers. I did see Yankees-Mets in my day. But I've never seen Yankees-Dodgers, which is a great rivalry. So Wilkie says Bears versus Giants, the worst wideout rooms in the NFL. That's a fact. That is a fact, Wilkie. Neither one of these teams. The only difference is you're not paying your guys the most of any team in the NFL. We pay our wide receivers the most of any team in the NFL. And with those players right now, we have Richie James and David Sills. I would imagine Darius Slayton is going to get some time. I don't know who's going to take Shepard's spot. I don't know what the deal is with Wan'Dale Robinson. Hopefully he gets better and he can get out there. We can see what the hell that kid can do. But, Wilkie, you're right. These are two teams of really bad wide receivers, really bad offense. But these are two bad teams. I mean, let's face it. We picked 5th overall last year. You guys picked 7th. We got that pick from you, but we are both picking in the top 10 for a reason. And that's because neither one of us are very good. So it'll be the same type of game that we've played the first 3 weeks of the season. It'll be a low-scoring, defensive, ugly game. I don't think either team's putting up 27 or 30 points. I think it'll be, again, 19-16, 20-16, something like that. But I do think the Giants can get it done. I definitely do. And my Giants 26, thank you for Super Chat, brother. Appreciate you. He says, think we draft a quarterback, then trade for wide receiver 1. They did it in Buffalo. Hopefully we draft our franchise wide receiver 1 and quarterback 1 in the same draft. Forgot how it felt. We definitely need some wide receivers. I definitely think that is on the radar for the Giants, one way or the other. I don't think there's any question we need an absolute number one receiver. We thought we were getting that with Kenny Golladay. Obviously, he has not. He's been anything but a number one receiver. He's been a number one pain in the ass, is what he's been. He's been a number one disappointment. He has not helped matters at all. He's part of the problem. He's a losing ball player, is what he is. He's a losing ball player. So we have to find a way to get our quarterback, whoever that is, protection and a guy he can rely on. Every good quarterback has a true number one receiver. Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs. Justin Herbert has Keenan Allen. Joe Burrow has, Chase, Jamar Chase. Tua's got two of them. He's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Aaron Rodgers really doesn't. You see Green Bay's offense isn't very good anymore. And Tom Brady, he's got a bunch of them. So, we need a number one receiver, without a doubt. Lord Beerus, thank you, my friend. My Panthers suck. Beating them was fool's gold. Listen, I'm just glad that we beat them. I don't care if the team we play sucks. I don't care if we got lucky. I don't care. I just want wins, man. This isn't college. I just want wins. I don't care how we get them. The Giants do not win much. We have not won a lot in 5 years. I'll take a win any way I can get it. Any way we can get it. I don't care. I know what the Giants are, man. I know they're a team in a rebuild. I think they're a team that can improve throughout the year, which is what we want to see. And I think that they can squeak out 7 wins. It's what I thought they could do. Hopefully they do better, but they're far from a finished product. And you see there's a lot of holes in this team. There's still a lot of holes in this team, especially on the offensive line. Evan Neal was really, really bad last night. And I'm not going to kill Evan Neal. Like, it always amazes me how there's people that just say I'm negative. Oh, you're negative. You're a hater. That's not true at all. I would say pessimistic. Yeah, I think I'm pessimistic by nature, but at the same time, I'm realistic. And just because I'm saying the Giants are terrible when they've won 22 games in 5 years, I think that's truthful. I don't think that that's negative. I think that's the truth. They've been a bad team. But God almighty, there were some people in the chat last night and on Twitter saying Evan Neal is a bust. Kayvon Thibodeau is a bust. Kayvon Thibodeau on a limited snap count, 1 game, and they're already calling the guy a bust. Like, that's negative to me. That's negative. That these kids haven't even played a quarter of a season, and people are already calling him a bust. That's negative. That's negative. It took me 3 years before I said Daniel Jones ain't the guy. I was on the Daniel Jones train for 3 years, and I was just like, no, I don't believe he's the future quarterback. It took me 3 years, not 3 games. Pancake, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. He said, would you say Barkley earned his contract for next year? Love you, Baddog. Let's go, Gma. Thank you, Pancake. Appreciate that. Love me some pancakes. I always have Nick's ice cream and Kodiak pancakes for dessert. I always do. Well, while we're talking about Nick's ice cream, let's pay some bills real quick. If you guys want to bet on the games this weekend, you can go to mybookie.ag. I'm pretty sure I have the links in the description. If not, but if you go to mybookie.ag, you can play parlays, you can play straight up bets, you can play some props, you can bet on college, you can bet on baseball, you can bet on football. You can do a lot of betting on mybookie.ag. It's really simple. If you're depositing for the first time and use the promo code BADDOG, they'll double your deposit all the way up to $1,000. So if you donate, if you put in $500, they'll give you $1,000. If you put in $50, they'll give you $100. So they're going to double your first deposit as long as you use the promo code BADDOG, which is the way it sounds, BADDOG. It's one word. So if you want to, have a little fun, put a little excitement into the game, a little extra, try to win some money, go to mybookie.ag. And of course, when you're doing your betting and watching your football, you want to eat Nick's ice cream. Who doesn't want to eat Nick's ice cream? Have you ever had Nick's ice cream? I had me some mint chocolate chip tonight. It was absolutely unbelievable. I'm telling you, man, the ice cream bars, the snack bars, the protein bars, they're all awesome stuff. And like I said, man, I've had a lot of people in my DMs, Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. They love Nick's ice cream. There's a reason. It's awesome. Check it out. You can go to Nicks.com or just go to your local grocery store and check out the ice cream. aisle. It's got half the calories of pretty much all the other ice creams out there. And according, as far as other better for you ice creams go, trust me, Knicks has better taste and texture than any of them. That's a fact. So check them out. LA Lou, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Says, what lost the game is when you took a 13-6 lead and Wink Martindale got aggressive on D. Dallas picked up the blitz and Dallas moved down the field. That's a fact, Lou. And the funny thing is, I mentioned it in the chat or, in the live stream. I said he might get aggressive here, and he did. And with a 13-6 lead, I'm not going to kill him for that. I'm not going to kill him for being aggressive. That's Wink Martindale. We know that. That's an all or nothing defense. You can if you get there and you're able to knock the quarterback around and it's effective, it's great. It looks great. But if you don't get there, you're going to have open holes and you're going to allow teams to get big chunks of yards if you're not getting there to blitz. And Dallas did a fantastic job of picking up the blitz. That was a turning point, though, LA Lou. I felt like the Giants had a ton of momentum. It was the first touchdown of the game for either team. We had a really good drive. Barkley really came alive in that drive. And we went up 13-6. And I was just hoping we could get a stop. I was just hoping we get a stop and get the ball back to our offense. And instead, like you said, Wink got aggressive. Dallas, just ripped that blitz apart and went right down and scored. So again, I'm not going to kill him. That's Wink's defense. Dallas did a good job of picking it up. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap. They did a really good job of keeping Cooper Rush upright, giving him time to throw, and they were able to run the ball. So they did a really good job. There's not much you can do about it. But that's Wink's defense. But you're right. If we're able to stop them with the blitz, we might be having a victory Tuesday instead of a therapy session here. And my Giants 26, thank you, my friend. Will we be opposed to Calvin Ridley next offseason? I mean, I'm not going to be opposed to any number one receiver. But then again, I wasn't opposed to Kenny Golladay. And as I said in the video today, or last night, my post game, my take on Kenny Golladay aged like milk. I thought that was the greatest thing. I was like, oh, the Giants just got their number one receiver, man. Daniel Jones going to have a great year. I was excited. I picked the Giants to win 10 games. Coming off 2020 where it was a COVID year, they had no training camp. They had no preseason games. As a first-year head coach, I know we'd only won 6 games, but they were fighting. They won with a backup quarterback. I felt like they figured it out. And I said, now they added Kenny Golladay. They're going to be good. And they weren't good. And he's been awful. I guess it would depend on what Calvin Ridley wanted for money and where we stand. I'm going to be more and more concerned now about it because I'm going to keep thinking of the Kenny Golladay contract in New York Giants. But I mean, we need to take a shot at the number one receiver. We need a number one receiver. We don't have one. And that wide receiving room next year is going to be completely different. That is for sure. Skeptical fan, thank you, my friend. He says, would you guys welcome OBJ back when healthy? I know there's a lot of Giants fans that would love to get Odell Beckham back. There's a bunch of Giants fans that would love to get him back. Me, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it. It's not like I'm going to say, oh, God, don't bring him back. The thing of it is, how much do you want to pay a guy that's 30 years old, that's coming off of an ACL tear? We've seen all our guys seem like they get ACL tears, which is ridiculous. But how much do you want to pay the guy? I guess it depends on how much Odell Beckham would be willing to take to come back here. He obviously is not going to be the same receiver he was when he first got here. You would hope that his attitude is that of one that's matured and is better. I know the fan base loves him, and understandably so. He's been our most exciting player we've had since he was drafted. I mean, maybe outside of Saquon. Saquon's pretty exciting too, but Saquon missed a lot of time with injury. And last year, he definitely was not the Saquon that he is this year. But I mean, I think a lot of Giants fans would definitely welcome him back. The Giants fans love that guy. And I don't know how much he could contribute. And if you're rebuilding, is that a guy you want to bring in? I don't know. Again, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's not like I'm sitting there clamoring for it either. There's probably better options out there than Odell Beckham for the Giants. But if they wanted to add him to the roster, I'm not going to have a fit about it, Brian, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. He says, do you think Daniel Jones's performance last night moved the needle back towards him with the fan base? Buzz seems to be that they appreciated his play. I think that's this is the way I look at it, Brian, right? I always feel like, again, people think I just hate on Daniel Jones and I only point out his negative aspects, which is just false. I mean, when Daniel Jones is good, I always give him credit. When he's bad, I criticize him. I do that with every player. It's not just him. That's the way I am. I feel like you get accountability. You should take accountability when you fail or when you're bad, and I believe you should earn praise when you're good. I felt like Daniel Jones played well last night. I felt like Daniel Jones has played well all year. His statistics don't look good. And some people only look at statistics, right? He hasn't over 200 yards yet. His quarterback rating stinks, but again, I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy because I don't make excuses. But the dude is throwing to Richie James and David Sills with a rookie right tackle and 3 backup scrubs playing in the middle of the line. I don't know much of what else Daniel Jones can do. I felt like he played a very tough game last night. The guy was getting killed back there. He was using his legs. He was moving around. I felt like he did the best he could. Dallas really put it on him last night, which we knew he would. Evan Neal was horrible. But the way I look at it, Brian, is this. I don't think the people that hate Daniel Jones, you'll never move the needle. Like Jeffrey Abbey, who's been in the chat, it does not matter. Daniel Jones could have a year like Pat Mahomes did when he won MVP, and a guy like Jeffrey Abbey will not buy it. The needle will not move for some people, no matter what he does. And at the same token, the people that are extremely high on Daniel Jones, no matter how bad he performs, that needle doesn't move either. But I think the people that are in the middle can appreciate his play. At least they should be able to appreciate what he's done. He's certainly giving it his all. He has definitely shown some fight and resolve this year. He has definitely shown that he's led the Giants back a couple of times to a game-winning touchdown, game-winning field goal. We had an opportunity last night. If Sills don't fall down, who knows? But he didn't have much of a chance. You got a minute and 40 seconds and no timeouts going against one of the best pass rushers. Actually is the best pass rush. They lead the league in sacks. So the odds are stacked against him. I don't think Daniel Jones is coming back here, though, Bryce. So I don't think it matters what the fan base thinks or how they view him. I just believe that he will not be the quarterback next year. He will be the quarterback this year. Unless we can fall way off and we lose 10 in a row and we're 2-11, or if he gets hurt. Let's hope he doesn't get hurt. But I don't think the needle is going to move. It will never move for some people, no matter how he plays. And again, I don't think that it's moved enough. There's a reason that they didn't pick up the 5th-year option, and they're going to want their own guy. So we'll see what Jones does the rest of the year. I feel like Jones is playing for a contract for another team. That's the way I look at this year for Daniel Jones. And I hope that he has a good enough year that we make the playoffs, right? It's a long shot. We're not a good team, but we're 2-1. We could be worse. We have been worse, right? We've been worse. We haven't been 2-1 since 2016. It's exactly how it happened, too. We started off 2-0. We won our first 2 games by 4 points. We had a lead against Washington. We ended up losing the 3rd game to Washington. So we were 2-1 in 2016. We're 2-1 this year. Like I said, we have a winnable game against Chicago. Got to put this one behind us in Dallas. Got to look at things that went wrong. Got to try to correct them the best you can. Got to change a scheme, maybe the play calling. And got to try to find a way to win a game at MetLife. That is a winnable game. This is a team that they can beat. So, you win this game, you're 3-1. That's a pretty good start. LA Lou, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it. If Martindale had continued doing what they were doing, you could have won that game. You were in that game for 3 quarters. You got beat, not killed. Yeah, the final score, we were in the game. But again, LA Lou, I feel like Dallas really dominated the line of scrimmage. I feel like that's really where the game was lost, was the line of scrimmage. I think that really hurt us. But again, I get what you're saying. At the same time, that is Wink's. That's his defense, and we know he's aggressive. And I felt like at 13-6, he was going to take some chances to try to get the defense to make a big play, to get a big sack, maybe to get a turnover and put the game away. I felt like at that point, Wink was like, we're playing with house money. Let's go for it. I felt like Wink wanted to try to get the win on defense and backfired, But that's going to happen. That you don't know that that's going to happen, but there's an opportunity for that to happen. Pancake, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. He says, do you think Barkley did enough for the contract? I think Barkley's had 3 really good games, long season. I think the best he gets is a franchise tag. I don't know, unless it's a 2-year deal or something where it's like, okay, Saquon, we'll give you 2 years, $25 million. Go prove it for the next 2 years. He'd still be young enough to get a big contract at the end of that 2 years. That's the contract I can see him giving him. But when you have so many holes on your team and you're going to have some cap space, I love Saquon, but do you really want to give Saquon a long-term big contract? You really want to tie up, $75, $80 million in a running back when you don't have an offensive line and you don't really have a quarterback? He's not the quarterback of the future, and you don't have a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Barkley, I'd hate to let him go, but I just feel like I don't know if the Giants are in a spot where they can pay him. And that's the issue. I think they'll try to tag him. I think that that's a possibility. Or like I said, if they'll sign a 2-year deal, we'll find out at the end of the year. I definitely think that Barkley has a better chance of coming back here than Daniel Jones. That I can say. Mike, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. He says, kudos to Neal for taking the reporter's heat afterwards. Hey, listen, Evan Neal knows he didn't play good. Evan Neal knows he played terrible. He said it's the worst game he's ever had in his career. And I don't think anybody watching that game would argue. He was bad. He was atrocious. He was embarrassing. He was Eric Flowers-esque. He's played 3 games in his NFL career. We got to give the kid a break. We got to give him a chance. I was watching Authentic today. I was watching the Giant overreaction. I listened to it at work. I can't really comment in the chat. But he made a good point. We do compare what Andrew Thomas did in his first 3 games, because Andrew Thomas looked really bad in his first 3 games. And what is he right now? He's the best rated. I don't know if it's a lineman. He's definitely the best rated left tackle in the league, grade-wise. He's the highest. So he started off poorly and then really good. But as Authentic said, you can't really compare those guys, because just because Andrew Thomas did it doesn't mean Evan Neal is going to do it. But at the same time, we have to give Evan Neal a chance. You can't be like 3 games in, oh, the guy's a boss. He's Eric Flowers. He sucks. He had a bad game. He had a bad game against a really good pass rushing team. Every team Dallas has played has had problems blocking their front 7. So, again, he showed a lot of character taking the heat, Mike. I have faith in Evan Neal. I'm not about to sit here and crush the kid. He had a bad game. He had a really bad game. And now his job is to do better, right? He has to improve. Now, if he's doing this every game, like this becomes a pattern, then we got issues. If he becomes a liability on the right side of the line, then we're going to have some issues. But right now, I don't, I'm not going to kill him. He had a bad game against a really good front 7. Judah, thank you, my friend. Use Thirsto Buy online. Use Thirsto Buy and online No Mercy for Saquon or Danny. I don't know exactly what that means. But, it is what it is. We'll see. Bears aren't good. We're not good. It'll be a really ugly game. It will not be nationally televised. The only people that will really be interested in that, Judah, are Bears fans and Giants fans. Maybe our division rivals. But nobody's going out of their way outside of Bears and Giants fans to place aside 3 to 3.5 hours on a Sunday to watch that one. That I can tell you. Nobody that's not a fan of our 2 teams is going to sit there and go, oh, God, I can't wait to watch that Bears-Giants tilt at MetLife Stadium at 1 o'clock. That's going to be a good one. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's circled that one on their calendar except for Giants and Bears fans. No, unless you're really sick or you're just like, I want to watch some really bad football. Then they circle it. Last year, the Bears held us some -10 passing yards. That's the video. No, that's not the video on my page. No, I think that's the Tampa Bay game when I put the target bag in my head. I forget. Anthony, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. How many GMs does it take to fix this O-line? Hopefully Joe Shane's the guy. Your question really should have been how many GMs does it take to destroy the line? Because for years, Jerry Reese didn't do anything to help it. Dave Gettleman did nothing to help it. Dave Gettleman did absolutely nothing to help it. Right? Nothing at all. He did nothing at all to help it. It was terrible. He heard it. He heard it more than anything else. So hopefully Shane is the guy. Now, again, he didn't have much maneuverability, but Dave Gettleman said, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to fix the offensive line. He took one lineman in 6 first-round picks. And that guy ended up being Andrew Thomas. I wish he would have addressed it. He could have got Rashawn Slater last year. Could have had Micah Parsons for the defense last year. He didn't do it. One year he took Matt Peart, who I don't even think is on the team anymore, Shane Lemieux, who's hurt, and Andrew Thomas. And then his last season here, 2021, he didn't address the offensive line at all in the draft. And it was a terrible offensive line. So it doesn't help. Diehard Giants fan. I had to make sure that was a real diehard Giants fan. Welcome back to the Dog Pound, my friend. I didn't even know you left. But welcome back to the Dog Pound. It's your little Lawrence Taylor emoji. I got to do a 4-year emoji. I don't think I have one. I think the longest guys are 42 or 43 months, but I still have a few months to find a 4-year emoji. I don't know what the hell it's going to be, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out. You know, we shall figure it out. Christopher, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. He says, if you don't believe Jones, why want to make the playoffs? How do you think he'll be able to upgrade quarterback if we win a lot of games? Well, I mean, they can do it a number of ways, right? They can do it in free agency. They could trade to get draft picks. They could use some of their draft picks to trade up and get a quarterback that they like. Maybe they like a quarterback later in the first round. I will never root for the Giants to lose. I'm not going to root for them to win 3 games this year so that they can draft a quarterback that may not pan out. I'm not going to root for the Giants to go 3-14 so that we can draft Will Levis or CJ Stroud and then they come in and they're a flop. I want to win. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care what Daniel Jones's numbers are. I want to win football games. I'm a fan. I root for the Giants to win every week. If they're making the playoffs, then maybe Daniel Jones is good enough to come back here with a 5th year with a franchise tag. Or maybe they go somewhere else. You know, we'll see. That's their job. But I definitely want to make the playoffs because if you make the playoffs, it means your team has gotten better and it means you can add other pieces around. Maybe you build the offensive line. Maybe you don't address the quarterback. Like I said, maybe you give Daniel Jones, I don't think he will get it. And the odds of making the playoffs are slim. But if the Giants made the playoffs, you can offer Daniel Jones a 5th year option. Or I'm sorry, a franchise tag. You can give him a franchise tag and you can draft the number 1 wide receiver. You can address the offensive line. You know, Lamar Jackson's not going to be out there. There's all that talk about Lamar Jackson coming to the Giants, but I don't see it happening because I just think Baltimore is going to tag him too. But you never know. You don't know what's out there. So we'll see. I mean, we'll just see where it ends up. But, we're in September, so I'm not sitting here saying I want the Giants to lose 13 or 14 games. Now, if we get to November and we've won 3 games all year, I still won't root for them to lose, but I understand people saying I want them to lose. At that point, I understand it. But I'm not going to go into a fresh season going, I want to be horrible so we get a good quarterback or what we perceive to be a good quarterback because there's been many quarterbacks that have been taken in the top 5 that have not been good. So, I don't know. That's just the way I look at that. You know, it is what it is. But we'll see. I don't think that the Giants are going to make the playoffs. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, me neither. I can't root for them to lose. Like I said, man, if they're really bad in November and they're out of it, and people root for them to lose or tank, I'm not, like last year, I certainly wasn't, but I still don't like when they lose, but I'm certainly not like, oh God, we just cost ourselves this or whatever. I mean, you knew you were losing. Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm were not winning any football games in the National Football League. So you expected them to lose. It's too early for me to, we're 2-1. It's too early for me to root for them to lose. I have faith in what Joe Shane's going to do. If we're 10-7 or if we're 3-14, I have faith that they have a plan for whatever comes their way. I do. I, for the first time in a long time, believe that our front office, that Joe Shane and Brandon Brown, the scouting department and the analytical department have some semblance of an idea of what they want to do going forward. And I think that they will go over all scenarios depending on where they draft and their needs, the availability and free agent, who's available in free agency and who they sign. I think at that point, we'll know. But I think it's too early to start, picking who we're going to get or we should lose games or what it is. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. They played more than 3 games. Daniel Bellinger's played every game, so he's played 3 games. I know that Wan'Dale Robinson, I know they got hurt, but I don't think that that's Joe Shane's fault that somebody fell on Kayvon Thibodeau's ankle and bent it back. He played. Wan'Dale Robinson played a game. Belton got hurt in preseason. The Giants, everybody gets hurt on the Giants. It's just it's part of football. It's part of football. Evan Neal's played every game. So, they've played. Some of them got hurt, but what can you do? Lou says, can you get something for Saquon? Would you trade Saquon to the Rams for Cam Akers in a second round pick? Well, again, I believe that'll depend on where the Giants are at the trade deadline, but if they don't plan on bringing back Saquon Barkley and they can get a second round pick, if they can get something better than they would get for a compensatory pick, then they probably would consider it. If they don't plan on bringing him back in any facet, and they can get more value than a late third, which is probably what or an early fourth is probably what they would get for Saquon, then yeah, they probably would do something like that. But again, we're gonna find out. I think that, I'll be honest, as good as Saquon's been, I think everybody on this team, outside of the guys that are rookies, I'm pretty sure he said we're open for business. I'm pretty sure he said we're open for business. So I don't think anybody is like off the trade market. Like I said, outside of a guy like Andrew Thomas or Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeau, they're obviously not trading those guys. Kenny Golladay, he'd be really tough to move. His contract is huge and the cap hit is enormous. He would be a tough one to move. If he ends up being a real problem for the Giants, then they might just have to do it just to get him the hell out of here. But again, he won't be here in 2023 one way or the other, and I will be surprised if Kadarius Toney is as well. Christopher, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Biggest problem, Giants, is O-line. Yeah. Our offensive line is really bad. And again, Shane had nothing to work with here. He had no cap space, and he took Evan Neal. We got to see what Evan Neal becomes. You build your offensive line from the outside in. Hopefully, Neal becomes a very solid right tackle in the future. He obviously has a ways to go. We saw last night. But if you can start to build from the outside, and he'll have some more, like I said, he'll have more flexibility with the cap to bring in better players. He'll have his own scouts to go out there and look at players that he's interested in. So, again, I hate to already skip over 2022, but I think any Giants fan that went in with a sense of reality looked at this team and said, there's still a lot of Dave Gettleman here. You know, it's not just the coaching staff. The coaching staff was terrible. And you already see a difference in the way they play this year. But at the end of the day, talent is talent. You can certainly squeak out a few more wins, these close games, because your coaching is better, which we've already done. We've already squeaked out games we wouldn't have won last year. Last year at this time, we'd have been 0-3 in these 3 games. Let's be honest. With that, shit for brains, that was the head coach last year. There's no way we would have won the 2 games we won. So again, I feel like we have the right people in place. We just now have to get their talent to fit their scheme. That's going to be important. 2023, again, I hate already skipping over 2022 and talking about 2023, especially since right now we'd be in the playoffs. And I know it's early, so there's a long, long ways to go, but it'll be a monumental difference. It'll be a monumental difference in the personnel that the Giants have on the field. Big difference. All the Gettleman guys are going to be gone. Sterling Shepard is the last piece of that boat trip, and he's played his last game as a Giant. So if you're superstitious and you thought that boat trip was a curse, the curse should be lifted because Shepard's not playing anymore. Doing your mom. Oh, doing your mom. Yeah, I can read. Good game, Baddog. Last night wasn't on DJ. No, listen, man. The Cowboys have a really good front seven. They have the best maybe the best front seven in the league. The Cowboys, I'll tell you what, the Cowboys-Eagles game, when I don't know when you guys play, that's going to be a fun one to watch. That's a fun one. See, that's a game I circle on my calendar as a Giants fan. I hate both of them with an absolute passion. I can't stand the Cowboys or the Eagles. I hate them both so much, but I love watching them play one another. And especially right now because they're both really good. Like I said, nobody that outside of the Bears and Giants fan base circled the Giants Bears and go, I can't wait for that one. But a Cowboys-Eagles matchup, especially with the way those two defenses are playing, it'll be interesting to see how Dallas matches up with Philadelphia's offensive line, the way Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball and a couple of really good receivers, like Trayvon Diggs against A.J. Brown. Like, who isn't looking forward to that matchup? Jason Peters playing against his old team. That'll be a fun one to watch. I will definitely be looking forward to that. And depending on when they play and my availability, I may stream that one. I never stream like outside football games. It's just not, I'd rather just do the Giants because I have so much other thing. I mean, the Lakers start Monday, right? Monday. LakerDog returns Monday. Sacramento Kings, preseason, 10:15 this channel. LakerDog returns. So I obviously stream a lot during the basketball season. But if I can do that Cowboys-Eagles game, if I'm available, I'd love to call that game just because I think it'd be fun to watch it. And I honestly don't care who wins. Irish Rover, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Kevin, off topic, sitting back, listening to your content, reading the chat, and eating, trying out Nick's ice cream, chocolate chip cookie dough. Pretty damn good. My man. Oh, the chocolate chip cookie dough is good. You know what else you got to try, man? If you like the chocolate chip cookie dough, get the Swedish cookie dough. The Swedish cookie dough is really good. But I'm telling you, man, I'm a big butter pecan guy. Like, I love butter pecan. So we're going to put that one aside. If you guys are trying Nick's ice cream and you can get campfire s'mores, try that one. Campfire s'mores is fantastic. I've never had that flavor. They have chocolate peanut butter cup. They have cookies and cream. They have vanilla strawberry chocolate. Like, every ice cream makes that. I've never found an ice cream that was campfire s'mores. So it's like graham crackers, chocolate, marshmallow. The Rocky Road is really good too, but try the campfire s'mores if you get a chance. Anybody that's out there looking for like Nick's ice cream, try that one. I love that one. I actually got some on order. Not that particular one because I can buy that at my grocery store. I got cheesecake. It's cheesecake flaker, I think it's called, and this hazelnut cream, which I love hazelnut. So, I definitely I got that on the way, and I got the ice cream sandwiches that are the chocolate cookie and the chocolate ice cream in the middle. Looking forward to it. I eat it every night, man. That's my snack every night. I finish my dinner, go right for the pint of Nick's ice cream. I absolutely love it, man. It is good. It fits my macros because literally most of those ice creams are about 280 to 300 calories. It is 3 servings of potato chips. You get a pint of ice cream. You could eat 40 Doritos, and you'd have the same amount of calories. But there's no, and not saying ice cream is nutritious, but at least there's protein in ice cream. There's no protein in Doritos. It's all fat and carbs. But it's good. Travis, thank you for the super chat. Ready for Rangers hockey? Feel like it just ended. I definitely will check it out when I can. I've always said I'm more of a casual Rangers fan because the Giants, Yankee playoff baseball, the Knicks and the Lakers take up a lot of my time, especially the Knicks and Lakers. The basketball takes up a lot of my time in the winter. So it's hard for me to really catch on with the Rangers. But I always say if the Rangers they should make the playoffs. They should make the playoffs again. And I'll call the games like I did last year. I had fun. I'm not a good hockey play-by-play guy, but I had fun. Shout out to Hot Take Hockey, by the way, who got an announcing gig. I forgot the name of the team. Bodo Winter sent it to me on Twitter. But congratulations. Johnny's really good. He deserves it. He's good people. I forgot the name of the team that gave him the job, but he definitely earned that, man. He's really good at calling a hockey game. Survivor Sam says the mint is good. I had that tonight. The mint chocolate chip is really good. I'll get that again. Because I'm more of a chocolate chip guy. Never been a big mint chocolate chip guy, but that's damn good. I'm telling you, I have not had a bad flavor of Nick's ice cream. Now, I don't like mango. I did get that from my wife. She didn't eat it. She's like, my wife goes, they have mango? How come you didn't buy that? I'll get you some mango. So we'll see what she thinks about that. But yeah, I have not tried that. I don't really like that type. I don't like fruity ice cream. Strawberry's different, but I don't really like peach or watermelon or orange or lemon. I don't like that type of ice cream. I like those fruits, but I don't like that in my ice cream. I want my ice cream to just be sweet. So not that they're not, but I don't like fruity flavored ice creams. I just don't. That's just me. So we'll see if she likes the mango. And I'm not a big mango fruit guy either. It's not terrible, but Philly D, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. He says, always appreciate your content. Hurts has improved. That he has. As an Eagles fan, I didn't see it. So when you said Hurts can't throw, I agreed. The man has heart. Well, I've never questioned Jalen Hurts' heart at all. I've always said that Jalen Hurts has the it factor. I feel like he is a natural born leader. He certainly works hard. There is no question. Jalen Hurts, his failures in the NFL certainly haven't been because of lack of effort. But he has a really good team around him. I don't think there's any question about that. And when you have an offensive line as good as his, you add one of the best wide receivers in the league in A.J. Brown to go with Devontae Smith, to go with Dallas Goedert, to go with a really good group of running backs. They're all effective. Miles Sanders is probably underrated. Boston Scott can get it done. Gainwell is a serviceable back as well. You're listening. Howie Roseman's done a great job. I can remember years ago, Eagles fans wanting Howie Roseman fired, and because of the Carson Wentz thing. And one thing, this is what I'm going to give Howie Roseman the biggest compliment I can give anybody, any GM. And I don't like the Eagles at all. I hate them. I hate them with every fiber of my being. So complimenting them makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit, but I've always prided myself on being unbiased and honest, at least as honest as I can be, which is why I have bad takes, because I am honest about my opinion. Everybody has bad takes anyway. It's just part of it. When you're a sports channel or you're a sports outlet or you're an analyst and you're constantly having takes on things and opinions, you're going to be wrong. But this is the thing, Philly D. Howie Roseman swallowed his pride. Howie Roseman swallowed his pride and checked his ego at the door and said, I screwed up with this Carson Wentz deal. I screwed up. So I'm going to eat a lot of the cap and I'm going to get him the hell out of here and we're going to start over. We're going to take Jalen Hurts. If he doesn't work, we're going to accrue a lot of draft picks in the first round of 2023 because if Jalen Hurts doesn't work, then we can make a move at a quarterback. But that guy was able to free up cap space and get draft capital and build a team all while doing that because he swallowed his pride and said, I screwed up with Carson Wentz. There's not many GMs that would do that. We all know Dave Gettleman would have never done that. Never would have admitted up. I screwed that up. I mean, even in Arizona, I mean, it hasn't really worked out. Arizona's they kind of look like they were getting close, and now they just they're kind of a mess again. I don't really know what Arizona is, but they drafted Josh Rosen. They traded up to get Josh Rosen, and after 1 year, they go, he sucks. Let's just take Kyler Murray. So they also swallowed their pride. But that's the best compliment that I can give Howie Roseman is that he swallowed his pride, and the Eagles are a much better team because of it. Because if he would have held on to Carson Wentz just to save his ego, the Eagles wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. So I don't know. It is what it is. So I don't really care. But he did a really good job. So he did a really good job. No, I'm Philly. I'm sure some guys do, but I'm sure some guys did, but I know a lot of guys didn't like Howie Roseman, and a lot of it had to do that because I remember, our fan base, the Giants fan base, is torn on Daniel Jones. It's torn with some guys like him, some guys hate him. And like I said earlier, no matter what he does, the needle will not move for some of these people. But the Eagles fan base was torn on Wentz or Foles because Foles won a championship. And although Wentz was really good, some people said Wentz can't win, Wentz can't stay healthy. They liked Nick Foles better. So now they don't have that problem. They're both gone. So the Giants fan base after this year, I don't think we're going to have the problem because I'm pretty sure that Daniel Jones is going to be gone. But we'll see, man. There's a long ways to go. There's a long ways to go. So, and Afghanistan, yeah, it does. You're right. And listen, I love Kyler Murray. I thought Kyler Murray would be an absolute superstar. I still think that Kyler Murray can be. I don't think he is one of the most talented quarterbacks out there, but I think that Kyler can, I don't know, man. Kyler can get a little rattled. And I think you saw that against the Rams last year. I think if you're able to get to Kyler Murray and you hit him a little bit, you see that he can get rattled. Because he did not look good in that Rams playoff game. And I think that's always been the knock on Kyler is if you can get to him, you rattle him. It's just at OU, nobody got to the quarterback at Oklahoma. But I still love Kyler Murray. I still think Kyler Murray could be really good in this league for sure. Yeah, I am. I'm definitely impressed with the way he didn't play. I don't think he played good against Detroit at all. I thought he used his legs well. I think he threw well. The game against Minnesota, I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. And last week, I think some Eagle fans blew it up. Like, I think he played better against Minnesota than he did against Washington, to be honest. I thought his accuracy was off. And not completely off. It's not like he had a terrible game, but I thought he definitely missed some throws that Devontae Smith made some ridiculous catches on that helped him out. So he's definitely put. Listen, Jalen Hurts is a worker. So you don't ever have to worry about that. And he's got really good talent around him. He should be able to succeed. But we'll see what happens when he plays a little bit better competition. Not that the Eagles play a lot of competition. I think the test for Jalen Hurts will be against a team like Dallas. a team that can get after the quarterback, a team that can hit the quarterback, and a guy like, Trayvon Diggs who will take chances and trying to get interceptions. I think that's the type of team. A team like the Rams that can get pressure up the middle, with a guy like Aaron Donald. I think the teams that can get after the quarterback, I think those are the ones that will really test Jalen Hurts. But so far this year, nobody's got to Jalen Hurts. So I think we'll see how that works out. I think those will be the biggest tests for him. And my Giants 26, thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says, if we don't have a high pick for quarterback, what do we do? Again, it depends on what we do in free agency. It depends on our needs. Depends on who's available. It depends on what Joe Shane and Brian Daboll like. I don't think there's any question we need interior offensive line and a number one wide receiver. I think that we have to address the offense first, because I think the offense is far behind the defense. And no matter who the quarterback is going forward, you want to set that quarterback up for success. Didn't do that with Daniel Jones. We never did that with Daniel Jones. He tried. Listen, Gettleman certainly tried to do things. They just never worked. Kadarius Toney didn't work. It ended up being a horrible pick. Try to give Daniel Jones a lethal weapon, a quick guy in the slot to go with the outside guy that led the league in touchdowns one year as a Pro Bowl wide receiver. He paid him $72 million. He tried to get Daniel Jones some weapons. Never fixed that offensive line, which was a major problem. That was the biggest issue. He tried his first year. He brought in Alec Ogletree to help the defense. Ogletree was a nightmare. He brought in Nate Solder, was the best left tackle in the market. He was a nightmare. So it just didn't work. But I felt like he at least tried to address some of the issues. It's just he addressed them very poorly, and just players that were complete and utter bums is what happened, unfortunately. Capital Mob, thank you for super chat. He says, Merrick cuts check for KG and loses J-Biv to Philly. Yeah, I mean, listen, like I just said, when they got Kenny Golladay, I was happy. I felt like they finally had a number one wide receiver. I felt like that was a big target. I felt like he'd be good in the red zone for Daniel Jones. We had struggled in the red zone. We still are. We're better this year because Saquon's back to running like Saquon. And I feel like Bellinger's been a good target down there. But I thought for sure having a Kenny Golladay would be a big boost to our red zone offense. And it's not. He hasn't scored a damn touchdown. Andrew Thomas has been a better boost to our red zone offense. So, again, it didn't work out. But Galladay's he's not long for this team. Again, I don't know what the Giants could do. I don't know what they would do, but he will not be here in 2023. That I know. I don't know what the situation is going to be for the rest of this season. He won't be here in 2023. And my Giants saying, you, my friend, I'd take Moody or Smith, lineman in the second round. I mean, yeah, again, it'll depend on if they're available. It'll depend on where we're picked. Again, it's so difficult right now to say who you would take, especially in the second round, because we don't know what they're going to do in free agency. We don't know if Njiba is going to be there. Like, you don't know. You just don't know who's there. They might trade that pick. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. We can speculate all we want, but so far away from the draft, it's really tough to tell. You won't know until after free agency. You have a much better idea. And we still don't know. Who thought we'd take Wan'Dale Robinson in the second round? But it'll be interesting. Andrew, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. He says, was Carolina and Tennessee games false hope? Cringe to say, give it up to Dallas and Cooper, and to think we let him go too. Well, I can tell you this. Cooper Rush would have been horrible here. Cooper Rush would not have had that offensive line that Dallas has. Cooper Rush would not be throwing to CeeDee Lamb. No, CeeDee Lamb dropped a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb is a very good wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb rebounded and killed us. He wouldn't be throwing to guys like CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown. He would be running for his life behind a really bad offensive line, throwing to Richie James and David Sills. Would not be the same performance if Cooper Rush was a Giant. However, with false hope, I mean, again, if you expected the Giants to be a powerhouse and win 11 or 12 games after those two games, then yeah, that's false hope. But I think if you looked at it realistically, you're just happy that they won games. You're trying to build culture. You're trying to build a team. You're trying to build a resolve. You're trying to build a personality. I think winning for a young team, a team with a young head coach and a young GM, I think winning as many games as you can gives them hope. As far as fans go, I guess it depends on the way you look at the games. We certainly didn't dominate the games. We got lucky that Tennessee missed a field goal, and we got lucky that Graham Gano hit a 56-yard game winner. So you can look at it that way. We could easily be 0-3, but we ended up being 2-1. So again, realistically speaking, I don't want to say they're a false hope. I'm happy we can win any games we can win. But I know that at the end of the day, Carolina is not a good team. Tennessee is better than people said. I mean, we beat them, and then Buffalo crushed them. Buffalo was crushing everybody. The Buffalo-Miami game was fantastic, by the way. But Buffalo beat the hell out of the Super Bowl champions, and then they beat the hell out of Tennessee. Tennessee's not a bad team. That was a good win for us. Carolina's not a good team. We have to beat the Bears. If we're 3-1, we're 3-1. But again, when we play the better teams, when we play a team like Philadelphia, we play a team like Green Bay and Baltimore, we're probably going to get hammered. If we can keep there's no moral victories. But if we can keep those games close, I think that'll go a long way to helping this team in the future, because those teams are head and shoulders better than we are. But that's the way I would look at that, Andrew. I think it depends. It depends on your perspective after the two victories. Philly, my friend, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. You were an old head too. Me too. He says, I'm an old head. My favorite time in sports was late 80s, early 90s. It was a playoff game when the East competed. Eagles ownership was awful. Yeah, Giants ownership's awful. Knicks ownership's awful. We got some bad owners in New York. Could be worse. But I loved the 80s myself. I grew up in the 80s. Felt like 80s football is fantastic. I talk about it all the time, man. The CBS 4 o'clock spot, NFC East, one of the NFC East battles, Washington Giants, Washington Eagles, Dallas Giants, Dallas, Washington. It was always Madden Summerall on CBS 6 at 4 o'clock. It didn't get any better than that. Because in the 80s, all these teams were really good. They were all fighting for playoff spots in the 80s. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Luke, thank you, my man. He says, Baddog, you're the man. Here's $2 for hey, thank you, Luke. Appreciate that. But how can I be the man when you're the man? But I appreciate that. Rob says, yo, have you had Nick's pumpkin spice? Tastes like pumpkin pie. Amazing. I have. I actually ordered some of that. I have a few pints in my freezer. It is very good. That's a limited edition thing. So I'm glad you found that. They didn't have that in my supermarket. I actually had to order that. I had to order that from the guy that takes care of me from Nick's. But yes, I have had that. And it is really good. Like I said, I've not had a bad Nick's ice cream. Not one. Not one. And I've pretty much had every flavor, like I said, except for the mango. Yeah, Scott Bruner was a little before my time, Jesse. Like, I started watching the Giants in 84. So I missed Scott Bruner. I got Phil Simms. I got lucky. I started watching them just as they were turning the corner and becoming a really good team. So my dad grew up with really bad Giants teams. Really bad. And I'm kind of going through that now. All of us Giants fans are going through it now with really bad Giants teams. But that's why in 86, he had tears in his eyes when they won the Super Bowl. He'd never seen them win a championship. I mean, they won it in 56. He was born in 54, so he didn't see it. But, he told me, he said, kid, enjoy it. You don't know if you're going to see it again. And luckily, I got to see 3 more so far. A lot of fan bases don't get to see their team win 4 championships. I can tell you this, unless you are older than me, you have to be in your 50s to have seen Dallas win 4 of them. You'd have to be almost 60 to remember seeing Dallas win 5 of them because they won it in 1971. So, you'd have to be really old to remember all 5 Dallas. So even a lot of Cowboys fans have never seen the Cowboys win 4 Super Bowls. They've seen them win 3, and you still have to be in your 30s to remember them winning in 92 and 93, 90, So even Cowboy fans haven't seen their team. Most of the Cowboy fans haven't seen their team win 4 Super Bowls. So I got lucky, and I'm hoping to do it again because it's a great feeling. It's been a long time since we won a Super Bowl. Hell, it's been a long time since we've been a competitive football team. That's why when we're 2-0, people are like, oh, don't get overexcited about it. No, I'm going to get excited about a win. Why shouldn't I get excited about a win? It's just amazing. The same people tell you, oh, don't get mad at a loss. Don't get excited about a win. What the hell you want me to do? Then why would I be a fan? What the hell's the point of being a fan if you can't get excited about a win or get pissed off about a loss? What is the point of rooting for the team? That's all. That's the whole point of being a fan. You're not happy when they lose, and you're ecstatic when they win. It's why you watch the game. It's why you pay the money to go watch the game. It's why you spend 3 hours of TV. It's why you buy the gear. You're a fan. I've never understood that. Oh, don't get excited about a win. Why? And that's the other thing. Why do people tell you how to feel? That's one thing I've never gotten. On the internet or in life, real life, whatever. When people tell you what you should be doing, why are people so concerned with other people unless it directly affects them? I will never in my life be able to figure out why somebody is concerned about what somebody else is doing with their life. People should concentrate on themselves and their family. You'd be a much better person. Like, I don't understand that stuff, especially on the internet. That's where I really don't. Yeah, because you're a complete stranger. What the hell you give a damn when people are like, oh, you shouldn't drink Coke Zero? Like, why do you care what I drink? Like, why is that important? I don't understand that. So people tell me, oh, don't get excited about a win. Why do you care if I get excited about a win or not? I don't understand that. Space Oddity, thank you, my friend. As a Bills fan, we lost 4 of them in a row. Yes. The first one was definitely your best opportunity against us. The next 3, you just ran into really good teams. You ran into the Dallas Dynasty, and you ran into one of the best teams in the history of football, the 91 Redskins. That was a really good team. Captain Mom, thank you, my friend. If you were born in the 70s, you will get over this. Yeah, I was born in the 70s. 76, bicentennial, baby. Hot Nick says, hit the like. Yeah, why the hell not? Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. Let's go. 217 likes. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Maybe we get to 300 by the time this is over. But I do appreciate you all being in the chat. We're almost at 102,500 subscribers, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I appreciate that. Double D. Been a long time. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Do I think DJ will be here next year? Sorry for the repeat question. You don't need to be sorry. I gut feeling I don't. Divianch. I don't think he'll be here because I think if they had faith in him, they would have given him the 5th-year option. This 5th-year option was like $22 million. A franchise tag will be over $30 million. So to me, I feel like this, and Chris mentioned this too. When you're the GM, you're really not on the clock until you draft your own quarterback. The quarterback is usually tied to the GM. So I felt like they were going to rebuild in other spots that they needed to rebuild in, and they'd worry about the quarterback in 2023. But I don't believe that they feel Daniel Jones is the future. They're pretty much playing with house money. If their system was able to improve Daniel Jones and he put up big numbers and he became that guy that everybody, thought he could be, the previous regime thought he could be when he was drafted 6th overall, a guy that could carry a team to the playoffs and compete for a Super Bowl. If he was able to do something like that this year, then I think they would say, okay, we'll bring him back we'll franchise tag him. But I think when they declined the 5th-year option, I think they knew immediately we're not going to keep him on board. We'll keep him here this year. He's under contract. We're not going to address the quarterback situation because we don't want to tie ourselves to a quarterback this year. And we have no offensive line and no wide receivers and guys we really don't like and guys we want to get rid of in 2023 with no cap space. We'll be more concerned about it next year when we have our own scouts, when we have our own draft picks, when we have $55 million in cap space, and they're probably gonna have more because Kenny Galladay won't be here. They'll save $6 million there. They may do some other things, restructure contracts. They may figure out a way to get more money, and we'll see what they do in the draft. But I don't think that Daniel Jones is coming back here next year. That's just my gut feeling. He'd really have to turn it on and force their hand to say we can't afford to let him walk. And I think that he's done well the first 3 games, but I don't think he's done great. I don't think that he's played good enough for them to go, we got to give this guy a 5th-year option. Not through the first 3 games. Now, he's still got 14 games to go. Maybe that changes. But right now, I don't think he's done enough to earn a 5th year. Clapping, thank you, my friend. He says, bro said, hit him when you off live. It's an emergency. Who's bro? I don't know who bro is. We were Swiss cheese last night. Dire Giants fan. We were. You know, it's crazy. I'll be honest, Dusk Thunder. I don't know if Dak is that much better than Cooper Rush. I really don't. Cooper Rush looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. Clapping Dallas. I didn't even read the I didn't even read the name first. Clapping Dallas. She's pretty good. Just let Lou know luck got you too. Who's Lou? LA Lou? I'm not sure what I'm sorry, man. I'm tired and I'm old, so I don't get the slang. So I don't know what let Lou know luck got you too. Okay. I don't know who. Oh, Louis T. There we go. Louis T. Gotcha. Washington's had a couple of bad ones. Yeah. Louis, that was a rough game for Washington. At least the Giants competed with Dallas. But Washington just got blown out of the building. Washington got embarrassed. No question. They did. But not Louis T. I got you. Okay. When you said Lou, I wasn't sure. I have an LA Lou. There's an Uncle Lou. Louis T is my guy. I can't believe Louis T and LB didn't do something this week. SB, my friend, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. He says, part that scares me. What quarterback is worth first round besides Stroud and Young, which will probably be gone by our pick? Again, you got to wait for the college football season to finish. There's always somebody that sticks out. They talk about Will Levis. I am not a Will Levis guy. Will Levis actually reminds me a lot of Daniel Jones. He really does. He reminds me of Daniel Jones. I do not want Will Levis. Certainly do not want Anthony Richardson. Trash can. Not good. That guy will not. I'll be shocked if that guy's a good NFL quarterback. He's not good. But I'll tell you a kid to watch. And I was talking about this in was I live Saturday? I might have been live on Saturday night. Saturday Night Live. Was I live on Saturday? I might have been live on Saturday. I think I wanted to do it Friday and I couldn't, so I did it Saturday instead. Washington's quarterback, Penix. Watch him. I think his name is Michael Penix. He's impressed me. Watch the kid from Washington. He's pretty good. I didn't hear about him until this year. I watched him destroy Michigan State, and then I think they were playing Stanford last week. No, yes, they played Stanford. He's good. I don't know how great. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch more Washington football, and that's always perfect because Washington plays in the Pac-12. They usually play at 10 o'clock. My wife and kid are sleeping, so I can really just sit down and watch a game. I want to double check. I think that's his name. Let me just see real quick. But watch him play because he's a guy that looks pretty good. It is. It's Michael Penix. Watch him play. Again, it's been a few games, but he's pretty good. Like, that's a kid that I never heard of until I watched him bury Michigan State. I said, wow, this kid's good. And then I want to say they played Stanford last week. Yeah. They crushed Stanford 40-22. They beat the holy hell out of Michigan State 39-28. So let me see what his stats are. Again, you can take college stats with a grain of salt. But let's take a look at this. So this is Michael Penix this year. He's thrown for 1,388 yards. He has 12 touchdowns and 1 interception. And his rushing, he's not much of a runner. He's not much of a runner. He only really ran against Kent State. He had 4 attempts for 27 yards. But he's a kid to keep an eye on. He's a junior. But he's a kid to keep an eye on this year. Again, I'm not saying that guy's going to be great or the Giants are going to go after him. But if they did pick kind of in the middle, like 14 or 15, and all those other quarterbacks are gone, maybe that's who they take a look at. But Michael Penix is pretty good. Dash, my friend, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. He says, I think the Giants select C.J. Stroud. Ohio State hosts Rutgers Saturday. Bengals play Thursday also. No pineapple on a pizza. Damn right. I got to watch it. That's Bengals. It's Bengals Dolphins, right? It's Burrow and Tua. That's a good one. They finally got a good game on Thursday night. I'll be watching that one. That's a good one. That is a good one. There's Dominic Pope. Yeah, make sure you go to mybookie.ag. There's the link right there. And he also put Knicks.com in there. That's not all one link. You can go to mybookie /Baddog there. And if you do want to bet some money and you do want to deposit on mybookie, just make sure you use that promo code Baddog so they match 100% of your first deposit. They double your first deposit if you put that in there. And then, if you want some great ice cream, go to Knicks.com, or you can just go to your grocery store and see if they have it. But thank you for dropping that, Dominic. Appreciate that. Donovan says Bengals are wearing their white helmets with the white uniforms Thursday. Wow, that'll be pretty cool. I'm looking for that'll be a good game. You know, it's funny. The Knicks do need Knicks. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. This week is actually going by. I don't want to say it's going by fast because tomorrow's only Wednesday. But I swear to God, maybe it's because the Giants played Monday this week. Last week seemed like it took forever. This one at least seems like it's moving at a decent clip, which is weird because every day is the same length. But some day, you guys got to know that in the chat. Some days just seem like they take longer than others, don't they? You know, it is. It is what it is. Philly D, I appreciate you being here, man. Listen, like I said, I try to be unbiased. Of course, I'm going to talk a little smack. It's part of football. It's part of sports. Of course, I'm going to bash the Eagles and Cowboys and Commanders. That's what we do. But at the same time, like I said, I give credit where it's due. At least I try to. I try to give credit where it's due. And if I do, criticize somebody, it's not because I'm hating on them. It's my opinion. Everybody has opinions. And everybody has right takes on things, and everybody has wrong takes on things. Everybody is right sometimes, and everybody is wrong sometimes. And if you're married, you know that you're wrong all the time. So it always makes you laugh when people come into the chat or they comment on my page, you were wrong. I'm like, yeah, I've been wrong for 22 years, man. I'm used to it. Chris, my friend, one of my gym rats. Boom! Let's go. Wait for Chris to come up to upstate New York so we can hit one of those together. Did arms today. We did arms today. Here we go. My guy, Chris. Always appreciate a gym rat like myself. He says, Yankee question, when LeMahieu comes off the IL, do you play him over Donaldson at third since Donaldson is cool? Well, Donaldson sucks. I do not like Josh Donaldson at all. The problem is, Chris, I don't think that LeMahieu is going to be able to play the field. That's the issue. They were actually talking about that tonight at the game, that unless the only way they could really play LeMahieu and Stanton is if they put Stanton in right field, because I think one of them has to DH. So I don't think LeMahieu will play over Donaldson. Me personally, I would definitely play LeMahieu over Donaldson if he was healthy. Absolutely. Absolutely. You might lose a little bit defensively, but offensively, I'd much rather have the guy in the postseason that is a contact hitter that hits 300, that puts the ball in play, over a dude that hits 210 and can hit a home run now and again. We have enough guys in this team that hit home runs. I want a dude that hits 280 to 300. I want a guy that can hit with men on base. You know what I mean? In the playoffs, you're facing better pitching. So I definitely would rather have a guy that can drive in a run with a single rather than driving in a run with a home run. It's easier to hit a single than a home run. So, if he was healthy, I would absolutely play him, but I don't think the Yankees will do that. But we'll see. Maybe the deeper they get into the playoffs, if they can reach the ALCS, Chris, maybe he's healthy enough to play third. I would definitely consider. I would play him if he was healthy enough to play third base. Absolutely. SG, my friend, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. He says, I haven't been a fan of lefty quarterbacks, but after watching Tua this year, that kind of changed. But no matter who our quarterback is going forward, he needs weapons and an O-line. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. It doesn't matter. We bring somebody in here, and unless they're an ultra elite talent, they will not succeed. You can't have a guy that's above average that plays with this team, and it wouldn't matter. Like, we would be a little better. Would we be a little better with Pat Mahomes? Yes. Will we be a little bit better with Justin Herbert? Yes. Joe Burrow? Yes. Josh Allen? Yes. We'd probably be a lot better. Josh Allen's a different breed. But would we win a Super Bowl? Would we be good enough to win a Super Bowl with the squad that we have and Justin Herbert? No. Could we make the Super Bowl? Could we win a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow and the talent we have? No. Could we win a Super Bowl with the talent that we have with Josh Allen? No. Think about it. Think about the talent that those guys have around them, and none of them have won a Super Bowl. Hell, Josh Allen hasn't even played in a Super Bowl. So you're right. We absolutely need to get a number one wide receiver and build the offensive line. Absolutely. Because that'll make any quarterback a lot better. Just look at the improvement Jalen Hurts has made this year because their old line is healthy and because they added A.J. Brown. It makes such a big difference when you have a guy like that on your team. Space Audi, thank you, my friend. What's the best and worst division in football? Well, that's tough. I mean, the AFC West, they all lost. I mean, the AFC, I think the Bills and Dolphins are really good, but the Jets are not good. The Patriots are not good. The AFC North isn't really good. The NFC North isn't really good. The NFC East, I mean, has 3 teams above 500, but I don't think the Giants are great. That's tough. That's tough. The worst division is probably the NFC South. I think that's probably the worst division. The best division, man. I don't know. Right now, it might be the NFC East right now. I don't know, because the Eagles they probably the best right now after 3 games. They're probably the best team in the NFC. And the Cowboys are winning with a backup quarterback, so they got talent. And even though we don't have talent, we're still 2-1. So that's a tough question. I really don't know, because I don't know all the records of all the teams, but from what I'm thinking of, like off the top of my head, that's the way I would look at it. Bear, my friend, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Really appreciate it. He says, at this point, we just need a wide receiver or lineman. I'd be okay with 1 more year DJ or whoever, because if we draft the quarterback, we're going to have the same problem. No receivers and a bad old line. Yeah, that's why we're in a bad predicament. But you got to remember, we should be able to take a better swing at it next year with our linemen because we're going to have more cap space. without a doubt. So he'll have more maneuverability. The one thing I'll say is you really could use Tyrod Taylor as a stopgap. You really could. I know we brought him in here for 2 years. So look at it this way. Kind of like Pittsburgh did with Mitch Trubisky, how they brought him in here, and he's kind of just holding that spot for Kenny Pickett. So if the Giants decide, hey, we do like Michael Penix out of Washington, say the Giants are picking 16th and all the top quarterbacks are going. Say the Giants do go 7-10, they're picking 14th, 15th, whatever. And they don't want to trade up. It's too steep to go up and get somebody like CJ Stroud or whatever. And they go with Michael Penix. You literally could just start Tyrod Taylor in 2023 for as long as you see fit. And then, build even more in 2024 when they'd had even more cap space. So you're right. It's still going to be difficult because they still need a lot of work around the quarterback, whoever it is. The thing is with Daniel Jones, if they kept him here, they'd have to pay him a lot of money. I mean, that's the thing. The franchise tag would be over $30 million. And that would obviously take a big bite out of the cap space that they would have. And that's why I don't think he's coming back. But that's something that I could see them doing, Bear, is if they did go and get a quarterback out of the draft, that they could feasibly start. And I know the fans would hate that because Tyrod Taylor is not the future. And if we drafted a quarterback in the first round, nobody wants to see Tyrod Taylor play. They'd want to see the rookie. I'd want to see the rookie. But it might not be that long. It might be 4 games or something. But feasibly, they could do that. Like, that is a situation. Like, they could. If they didn't feel like there was enough for their quarterback to succeed, they could start Tyrod Taylor maybe for a month or so. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. That's why they're getting paid the big bucks. That's why we have to have faith in what Joe Shane does. And that's why the cloud of Dave Gettleman still hangs over this franchise, because we're still in a really tough predicament. He left the franchise in a really bad spot as far as lack of talent, and the cap situation is horrible. So Dave from Colorado, what's going on, buddy? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I was never talking about playoffs. Never. So don't know what you're talking about, William. I don't know if you've been drinking. I understand you've never been on this channel before, and I understand the Cowboys haven't won anything in 30 years, and you feel good about beating the Giants, and now you're in here talking. But I've never talked about the playoffs. I continuously have said the Giants will win 7 games, and even after we started 2-0, I still said we were going to win 7 games. So maybe somebody else, but you guys, there's literally millions of Giants fans. There probably was some talking about playoffs, just like you're probably one of them Cowboys fans that say you're winning the Super Bowl every year, and you haven't done it since VHS was popular and AOL 95 came out, that type of thing. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But I certainly didn't mention the playoffs after 2-0. And I'm talking about what our team's doing. I can tell you this. I guarantee you wouldn't have one clue what the Cowboys are doing in the future. You probably have no clue about the Cowboys' past. I would almost guarantee you I know more about the Cowboys' history than you do, because you're that type of fan. Anybody that uses the laugh emojis like that and says this type of thing, I guarantee jumped on the bandwagon. So enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts. We're lucky we won 2 games. Listen, we got some breaks. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. We definitely got some breaks. We definitely did. There's no doubt. I'm old. I am old. So what? It's better than the alternative. You're going to be old someday too, or you'll be dead. Choose one. You either get old or you die. I want to live to be 95 years old. I want to be even older. I'm old. You're a child. See how that works? So you got some growing up to do. So just hope one day that you become old. Yes, they did win the division. Yes, they did. They did. So, like I said, ALDS, October 11th. I'll be streaming every Yankee playoff game that I can. So it is what it is. Flame Legend, what's going on? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. It's all good. What's going on, Flame? How you doing, buddy? Giants winning Sunday. I think they got a good opportunity. I think it's a winnable game. I mean, the Bears aren't any good. We're at home. We have a chance, right? No game is easy for us, but I think the Bears are where we are. I think they have a bad offensive line. They have no wide receivers, and they have a quarterback that makes a lot of mistakes. So it's winnable. It's winnable. I think that they can win the game. I definitely think that they can win the game. There's no question about that. Sugar Brown says the only chance the Cowboys have to play for a championship is if the NFL moves the Super Bowl to September. Nah, I mean, they get into December before they fold. Let's give a little crowd. Let's give a little Super Brown. I think I said Sugar Brown. Super Brown. Let's give them a little credit. They do get into December before they fold like a cheap suit. Before they're one and done. They at least get to do that. As I said a couple of streams ago, the Cowboys fans, how the mighty have fallen over there in Dallas. They hang their hats on division titles now. When I was growing up, because I'm old, remember I'm old, that's not the way Cowboys fans used to be. They used to pride themselves on winning championships. Now they just pride themselves on being better than the Giants. That is how low that Cowboy fan base has fallen. That is how far. Troy Aikman talking about how far the Giants have fallen. That is how far the Cowboys have fallen. That they now celebrate division championships and beating one of the worst teams in football in the New York Giants. That is where they are right now. So think about that. Brian, thank you for being a member for 2 months. He says, I feel bad for Shepard. Yeah, he didn't tear his ACL. He tore it last year, was his Achilles, but yeah, it sucks. It's obviously another major injury. He's going to miss the year again. So, it sucks. XST, I agree. Always that. This child can go get hit by a train. Giants wasting their time with Jones is good. Well, Brandon, I mean, there's again, what options do we have? Jones wasn't even going to Duke. Yeah, he wasn't going to Duke. But what can we do? There really was no other option. So again, they're kind of playing with house money. Dable and Shane are playing with house money. So it is what it is. Ninja Service, thank you for the super chat. Do you think we'll give Barkley a contract? Also with DJ, it sucks because he has so much potential, but the only way he can stay here is if he takes us to the playoffs. Well, again, DJ never really had much of an opportunity because the talent around him was terrible. I mentioned the Barkley contract earlier. I think the only way Barkley gets a contract is if it's a short-term deal, like a 2-year deal, and he wants to stay around here for 2 years, and that he could still sign a big contract when he's like 27. Because, again, the Giants are still in a rebuild. We're going to have a lot more cap space next season, 50 to 55 million, depending on what they do as far as cutting guys. Like Galladay is not going to be here. I'd imagine they'll save the $6 million and get rid of his worthless ass. And maybe they restructure some contracts or move things around to get more. So do you really want to give Saquon Barkley a big contract? You really want to tie up your eligible cap money and a running back when you have so many other holes? It would suck to lose Barkley. He's been great, but is Barkley really the piece? Are we really just a couple pieces away from a Super Bowl, or, do we have a long ways to go? So that's the thing. Space Odyssey, thank you for the super chat. He says the Cowboys have 4 playoff wins since 1996. Pathetic. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They're better than us the last few years, but that's what I'm talking about. That's where the fan base has gone. It's gone from, priding themselves on winning the championship to priding themselves on beating the Giants and winning division titles and losing in the first round of the playoffs. That's where they are. Oh, we're getting Rickrolled in here. Never gonna give you up. One of my favorite songs. We got Rickrolled. Rick Astley's in the house. Franchise tag Barkley is cheap. Yes, that is that. That would be if Barkley wanted to play under the tag. But Rick, that would be the best option for the Giants. The only thing is, if Barkley has a really good year and he's healthy and he can get that big contract, is he going to want to take a franchise tag with the injury history he's had? Probably not. He's probably going to want his money. And I couldn't say that I blame him. But if he would play under the tag, yes, that would be the absolute best case scenario for the New York Giants. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. He says Eli's better than Aikman. The stats prove it. Eli's way better than Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman threw for more than 20 touchdowns only one time in his career. It is what it is. AP says the Cowboys need to drown their sorrows from the past 26 years. They could use some mixed ice cream. They could. Listen, they're better than we are, but that's not saying much. Yeah, I've said this before. Beating the Giants is like taking, you're taking a 3 to the prom and making fun of your buddy that took a 2. What are you bragging about? You should beat us. You should be able to beat us. If you can't beat us, you got problems. I don't think the Giants are the danger to the Cowboys. I think the Eagles are the team that they ought to worry about. That's the team that they need to worry about, not us. Hopefully, in a year or two, we are a team that they need to worry about. But there's no question. They've been way better than us for the last 5 years. Every team in the NFL outside of the Jets has been better than us for the last 5 years. So, again, it's not saying much beating up on us. We're terrible. And 95% of Giants fans will tell you that we're terrible. We know what we are. Ninja Server says, how much better do you think Eli will be? Well, Eli's done. Eli's done, man. Eli's out of shape. I mean, he looked pretty good as Chad Powers. Maybe he should come back and be our quarterback's coach. Chad Powers looked amazing. But in all honesty, man, he's done. He's got his man in cast. He's having fun. He's enjoying his family life and his retirement. Eli's done. Eli's 40 years old. He's not Tom Brady, man. He don't want to play no more. Eli don't want to play anymore. Eli's enjoying retirement. I don't blame him. Would you want to come back to this mess that is the New York Giants? If you were sitting on the couch and enjoying life? I wouldn't. But it's all good. So, Evan says Cowboys fans go, I don't think they're concerned. They're just talking trash. But I am more than happy to give it back. Wow, is this the real Mark Holmes over here? Let's see. Let's take a look at this. You never know. Nah, fake Mark Holmes. Fake Mark Holmes in the chat. Fake Mark Holmes. Fake Mark Holmes. Giants and Eagles have been the best team. Well, we've won Super Bowls at least recently. The Giants, though, the last 5 years, but we've been really bad. Actually, the last decade, outside 2016, we've been bad. We've been a bad team. Been a very bad team. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. But, we'll see what it is. We'll see what it is. Yes, Dashy, the Yankees won the AL East. Yes, they did. Fake Mark Holmes. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. He was pretty good. But listen, guys, girls, I am going to get out of here. I want to get some sleep. I am tired. I do appreciate you hanging out with me on a therapy Tuesday night it ended up being. Hopefully Monday, we're doing a victory Monday. But listen, man, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe if you're new. We're almost at 300 likes. Ninja Service, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate the super chat. He says, all we're missing on is fundamentals. Joe, fundamentally be executed and executionally be fundamental. Joe Judge. In all seriousness, man, listen, I hate Dallas, but congrats to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they beat us. I mean, there's and I've said this. I said this in my post game. We got a lot of calls. We got a lot of breaks, and we still couldn't beat them. CeeDee Lamb dropped a short touchdown. Got a break. I want to say it was I forgot who held Noah Brown in the end zone. Excuse me. I thought it was Adoree Jackson. Might have been somebody else. Noah Brown got undressed in the end zone, completely held him. They didn't throw a flag. It should have been first and goal from the 1. They had to kick a field goal. Those are 2 plays that really stick out of my mind where we got a massive break and we still didn't beat them. They beat us fair and square. I hate losing to them, but they're a better team. They are a better team. Cooper Rush or not. Again, Cooper Rush may not be Dak Prescott, but the rest of that team, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, the offensive line, they got talent there. They didn't win the division for no reason last year. They have talent. It's a talented squad. 71% of their squad came to the draft. They drafted well. That's why they compete every year. That's what we need our new GM to do. Our old GM didn't draft well, and you can see the difference. The Eagles draft well, competitive. The Cowboys draft well, competitive. The Ravens draft well, competitive. The Steelers draft well, competitive. The teams that draft well year after year are always competitive. The teams that draft like ass every year, the Jets, the Giants, the Lions, for many years, the Bengals, for many years, the Browns, bad for years because of bad drafts. I, in my heart of hearts, believe we have the right guy for the job. Young, good, modern day analytical mind. Both, Brandon Brown, the assistant GM, and Joe Shane. And I like our coaching staff. So we still have a lack of talent here, but I do believe that these guys will figure it out, and it's going to take time. And any wins we get, listen, the first 2 wins are bonuses. I love it. I think we can beat Chicago. I still think we can win 7 games. So we're just going to ride it out and see what this year brings, Giants fans. But, we're going to get beat by teams of better talent, and that's just how it goes. We're not a talented team. I feel like we're a well-coached team. I feel like the front office is a lot better. I know I've said that a million times, but I do. It's just we don't have the horses right now. We don't have the horses to compete with the better teams. But hopefully, as the years progress, we get them and we get them quick. And before you know it, we're the ones beating the hell out of everybody in this division. But we still have a long ways to go. So it's a long year to go. We have Dallas again on Thanksgiving. We'll give it another try and we'll see how it goes. But they beat us last night. They deserve it. They owned us and they got the W. And we have to worry about Chicago now, and I think that we can win that game, go 3-1, and then we'll go over to London and see how we fare against Aaron Rodgers and company. But I'm going to have fun this year regardless. Obviously, when they lose, I still get pissed off. I am a fan, but I love doing these hangouts. I definitely prefer Victory Mondays better. But I love you guys and girls. I think you're the best supporters on YouTube. I think Giants fans are the best in football. The fact that you constantly support my channel, Chris's channel, the fact that there's always new Giants content creators coming out there, making content about the Giants when we're not a very good team and representing Big Blue. I think that shows you how passionate this fan base is about this team, even though we have been really bad. It's very easy to come on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or any social media outlet and talk really good about your team or talk about your team or represent your team when you're really good. I think when your team is really bad, like we've been, and you're still out there representing your team, supporting your team, doing everything for your team, I think it shows you what kind of fan you really are. I think that's the real testament to a fan base is when their team has been bad, not just for 1 year, but we're talking, like I said, the better part of a decade at this point. And you're still here all the time. And you still give me motivation to continuously make content about this team. I appreciate it. I think our fan base is awesome, even if we don't agree all the time. And I do think that brighter days are ahead for the Giants. It's just going to take some time. But hopefully, like I said, next week we're doing a Victory Monday. Yeah, we got to talk Giants sometime this week. I'm not sure when. I got to talk to Chris. And obviously, Chris is going to the game. And obviously, I'm not. And like I said, I'm not going to mention me going to another game until I actually have tickets. I want to get to a game this year, even if I have to go in freaking December, which I don't want to go in the cold. But if I have to go in the cold, I got to go in the cold. So I do want to get to a game this year, but I'll be doing the game myself this week. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here again. Thank you guys and girls. I appreciate you. You're the best on YouTube. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we will see you next time. It is the Baddog.